Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. Tyson Fury is lapping up the plaudits as he should be following one of the most memorable heavyweight performances in recent memory, dominating 5-year champion Deontay Wilder to take the WBC title, as well as Wilder's coveted O. But what of Deontay Wilder? His team threw in the towel, specifically Mark Breland, something head trainer JD's did not agree with, even though it was clear to see Wilder was being punished by Fury, who always looked like he was going to win after dropping Wilder heavily in the third round, a knockdown which took Wilder's legs away for the rest of the fight. Will Deontay Wilder rebound? Can he rebound? And we're going to talk about that, so buckle in. Let's go. This just wasn't a defeat, it was a crushing defeat. Deontay Wilder completely beaten from pillar to post by a guy who Wilder said couldn't hurt him. A fighter who apparently had pillow fists, but those pillow fists inflicted the first proper beatdown of Wilder's career. Luis Ortiz might have touched Wilder up in 2018, but this Fury win, it was next level. He took those 6-inch nails Wilder has been talking about and bodied him. This was meant to be the biggest moment of Wilder's career thus far, but the other guy triumphed in such a conclusive way. It has to be a crushing blow, not only for Wilder's massive ego, but also psychologically. Remembering, Deontay Wilder has so fully brought into his own hype over the years, having declared himself unbeatable, anointing himself as the best to ever do it, yet in this fight he was so thoroughly beaten. The CompuBox stats, they back this up. Fury landing more jabs, power punches, everything, all at a higher percentage. The moments of success for Wilder were few and far between. Also remembering, Wilder admitted after the first fight that the moment got to him, made him anxious and took him away from his game plan. So now it's 2 times that he's underperformed against Tyson Fury. How is Deontay Wilder going to handle all this? Can his high levels of delusion pull him through what will no doubt be some dark times? Boxers will tell themselves anything after a loss to explain that loss away. And no doubt Deontay Wilder will be clinging to anything he can to explain his own performance. The first excuse came in the post-fight speech. It came quickly. Wilder saying the better man won, no excuses, but in the same breath saying he had a leg issue heading into the fight. How serious it was, we don't know. But that in itself was Wilder in part trying to explain away some of his performance on the night, using an excuse as something he said before the fight he would never be doing.
I just don't want no excuses. I don't make excuses, and I ain't planning on making any. You know, I give him my best when I go in there, and I expect the same thing from him. I don't want no excuse. I don't want to know that. I don't want him to have an excuse that he should have been a little bit smaller or whatever. At this point in time, being that we've had a second fight, he should know where he needs to be as far as weight-wise and everything else. You know, so if he blows himself up, then that's him. You know, but I'm looking for the best Tyson Fury possible come February 22nd.
A lot of fans say that Fury exposed Wilder's lack of skill in the first fight, but the fact the 34-year-old couldn't find the target almost at all in the second fight, it just highlighted the immense skill gap between the two. Tyson Fury has now shown he has the ability to beat Wilder on both the front foot and the back foot. What realistically can Wilder do to improve, evolve, adapt in the trilogy fight if in fact it does go ahead? He's always been acknowledged as a fearsome puncher, but when you take that trick away, or at least contain it for the most part, Wilder really has little to fall back on. We saw that. And we did see him try to employ a similar strategy to the Luis Ortiz fight, hanging back, working the jab to the body, waiting for an opportunity. But there was clearly no plan B, no adaptability, and after he was dropped in the third round, he was working off instinct and became completely ineffectual. Even if there is a third fight, which we can likely expect given some of the statements by Shelley Finkel and JD's in the post-fight press conference indicating most likely to go ahead, Wilder will still be dangerous. He still has a puncher's chance, but he will not be the favourite. his so-called invincibility that some of his hardcore fans declared him to have, it's gone. How will Wilder cope mentally, knowing he can be beaten, but not only that, beaten up? Will he ever be the same? What did the fight take out of him? Deontay Wilder's corner, in my view, mercifully threw in the towel to end the fight. While Wilder wasn't happy, Mark Breland, in my view, did the right thing. At that point in the 7th round, Wilder was barely able to defend himself, and the only thing that was going to happen if the fight continued was more punishment. So hopefully Breland doesn't become a fall guy, as he saved Wilder from taking more damage. And even with the damage that he did take, there's no guarantees he won't suffer some after effects, both physically and mentally. We won't know if he will be the same fighter until his next fight. And if the trilogy goes ahead, no doubt Fury will be a roaring favourite with the bookies and fans, unlike the 50-50 it was seen to be for the rematch. Wilder will always be a chance in a fight because of his power, but expectations of a knockout against Fury next time, they are going to be lower. And with Wilder being such a prideful person, how is he going to handle the public perception of him now after this fight? His ego has been dented in such a major way. Doesn't mean he's not a good fighter or take away from what he's achieved, but people will look at him and talk about him differently. And he will hate that. He will hate not being considered the man, and he cannot call himself the man, the baddest man on the planet in public anymore because he was so thoroughly beaten. And he will hate that his dream of being unbeaten, 50-0 and all that, has been taken away from him. He was so thoroughly humbled. But will he emerge as a humbler man? We saw Anthony Joshua humbled in defeat, and he was able to rebound, able to accept he needed to change his style to win the rematch with Ruiz Jr. Will Deontay Wilder go through a similar self-reflection process? Or does he possess the wherewithal to change, to improve? He's so exclusively relied on his power over the years at the expense of sharpening other tools. Can he, at 34, make the required adjustments? Many will likely say no. But it is uncanny the similarities between Wilder and Joshua's losses. Both were dropped in the 3rd round, both from a punch around the ear region, and both looked like they were never going to recover in their fights, and they didn't. After the Joshua loss, Wilder took to social media, berated Joshua, saying he wasn't a true champion, that his career consisted of lies, contradictions, and gifts. And after Wilder's loss, I've seen some fans rejoicing at his demise in this Fury fight. But as of this video being published, Joshua had not issued a similar post as Wilder's June 2019 one. And he's unlikely to do so, knowing the taste of defeat so well, knowing how it is to be so thoroughly beaten up and bullied in a first loss. Deontay Wilder also knows that pain now too. The question being now, how will Deontay Wilder react? And let's put aside the whole leg injury Wilder referred to and the possible equilibrium issues sustained in the 3rd round knockdown, because it's boxing after all, these things happen. Can Deontay Wilder dust himself off, humble himself, regather and regroup with his team to come up with some sort of strategy to beat Tyson Fury in a possible trilogy fight? Right now it seems improbable. But so too did Joshua's rematch win over Ruiz. Many people were skeptical Joshua could reinvent himself inside 6 months. But he did, and he won. He got his titles back. Can Deontay Wilder do the same? What can Deontay Wilder do in that time after he's recovered from whatever injuries he's got, cut, ear, leg, whatever is the case with him in his current situation after the fight? After that, what can he do different? They actually said ahead of the second fight they weren't going to do anything different, they were just going to do it better. Clearly that strategy failed, and clearly they just can't rely on that. And the question of whether Wilder can actually come up with a strategy to beat Tyson Fury, it's an open question, given Deontay Wilder's technical deficiencies that are clear for everyone to see. But whatever the case, I'll be watching, I know you will be, and maybe we will see the trilogy fight, maybe we won't. But whatever the case, drop a comment, loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.